and this is what helped us surpass our best goal of $50,000 to $57,000. I actually ditched Instagram and TikTok for this $57,000 launch. I know this goes against all the cardinal rules of the fact that you need to be consistent on your social media. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, my goal for my signature program launch, Master Your Tutoring Game Plan, was $15,000, and I am still in shock. By the end of the campaign, my team and I made a whopping $57,000 in 30 days, and that's $90,000 for you Aussies. Because this was the biggest ever launch I've ever done, it required a lot of work behind the scenes. And I'm going to share with you all of it, how I set myself up for success, the biggest lessons and key takeaways, including my team behind this $57,000 launch, the mistakes I made in this launch so that you and I don't repeat them again in the future. Each time step will have a key lesson for you to take away, and the further you watch, the juicier the nuggets get. So make sure you stay all the way until the end. Hi tutor bosses, I'm Lisa, a tutor coach who helps tutors start and scale their tutoring businesses. So if you're somebody who has a tutoring business, the key lessons I have in this video are going to be insanely valuable for you to take and use for your own tutoring business. So if you like what you hear, please subscribe, because I regularly publish videos on this channel offering tutoring and business advice. Let's get into it. How I set myself up for success. The one main difference in this $57,000 launch compared to my previous launches, which didn't even break $10,000, was that I used the good, better, best method for goal setting. I used to just set one goal for each campaign. For example, I want to get 4 clients, which equals a $10,000 launch. And this works fine, but the side effect if you don't hit that goal is that you feel like a failure. It didn't matter that I got 3 new clients, I still felt like a loser for not meeting my goal of 4 new clients. I've learned that the problem with having one goal is that I saw things in black and white. I was either a winner or a failure. There was no in between. And I was sick and tired of feeling this way. So for this campaign, I applied the good, better, best for goal setting. And it works like this. For the good goal, you write down a goal that you're confident you can accomplish. Achieving this goal means that you've met your basic expectations. For the better goal, it's a more challenging goal that is still realistic, but not guaranteed. And then you have your best goal. This is your stretch goal that is going to be difficult, but not impossible for you to achieve. You know that your best goal is going to require a significant amount of effort and skill. Achieving this goal would be an exceptional accomplishment and would showcase to you that you've gone above and beyond what was expected of you. So here's a photo of my actual goals for my latest campaign. Now I'm going to break down these numbers for you very shortly. So why was implementing the good, better, best goals so important? Firstly, this framework takes off that pressure of all or nothing. Whether I achieved the good goal, surpassed it to the better goal, or knocked it out in the park with the best goal, I set myself up for a win regardless. And this is a game changer because it eliminates the destructive mindset of equating not meeting a single high set goal with failure. I didn't pursue entrepreneurship to feel shit about myself, and neither should you. Secondly, this assurance of success catalyzed a shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset for me. With a scarcity mindset, even if you missed a goal with the smallest margin, it would trigger thoughts like, I'm a failure, I only got 3 clients when I really wanted 4. And that's a damaging thought process that can lead to destructive actions. These desperate actions can include reducing your prices just so that you can onboard more clients, signing on clients who you know deep down are just not the right fit for you, and trying to appeal to anyone and everyone in your marketing, which ultimately dilutes your brand message, confuses your audience, and makes your services less appealing. Can you resonate? If you resonate and you've seen yourself take desperate actions as a result of a scarcity mindset, then I'd love for you to comment down below your experience with it. Next, by using the good, better, best goal setting method, I imbued myself with a confidence that I'd never felt before. I was no longer operating from a place of fear or desperation. Instead, I felt empowered to take calculated decisions, produce higher quality work, and make even more daring risk, which paid off. And I'm going to talk about this later in this video. Instead, with my new mindset, it meant that we only said yes to the people who we truly thought would be a good fit for the program, which means that the current group cohort is absolutely buzzing with like-minded, amazing people. This mindset extended to my team, who felt more empowered, knowing they were working towards well-defined and achievable goals, which led to higher job satisfaction and better performance on their end. And I owe so much of this campaign to them, and I'll talk about this again later in this video. So while desperate actions might have gotten gotten me quick wins of getting in more students, I'm actually a lot better off now because of the intangible wins, like better client satisfaction and better team satisfaction. Next, I set myself up for success, making $40,000 more than expected by reverse engineering my goals. As you can see from the table, I didn't just pluck goal numbers out of thin air. I had historical funnel data to determine how challenging my goals would be. Now, if you're starting a funnel for the first time, you're not going to have historical data like I do. If this is you, have a look at your industry average and base your goals off others. Once you've run your campaign for a few weeks, you'll have enough data to be able to measure your future goals off your analytics. Let's look closer at the best goal. In order for me to make $15,000 in revenue, I had to reverse engineer the funnel. And reverse engineering looks like this. Step 1, to make $50,000, I had to close 20 sales. Now, if you're a keen observer, you'll have noticed that I actually made $57,000, and I'll talk more about how this actually happened later in this video. Step 2, to close 20 sales, we had to have 70 sales calls based on a historical 30% conversion rate. And step 3, to have 70 sales calls booked, I needed to have 700 masterclass registrants based on a historical 10% conversion rate. And voila! By reverse engineering my goals, I knew that by the time August 29th came around, when I was launching my masterclass live event, I needed to have 700 registrants in order for me to reach my best goal. There was no wishful thinking that things would pick up later in the campaign or hoping that luck would just bring in customers. No, the onus was on me to ensure that there were 700 masterclass registrants from the outset of this campaign. And to achieve 700 registrants, I knew I had to reverse engineer my funnel even further, which is why I actually started this campaign all the way back in May. That's May, June, July, August. That's 4 months before the campaign officially launched. So by having numbers at each step of the funnel, I understood where I needed to concentrate my efforts and for how long I needed to concentrate those efforts for. Pretty cool way of doing business, hey? Next, I almost quit my entire campaign 7 days before launch, and I'm so glad I didn't. To be perfectly honest with you, the last time I ran this program, I had one particular client who was quite difficult to work with. They showed up to calls feeling really dispirited and pessimistic, and this negatively impacted the group's energy, which made the entire program quite difficult to run. As a coach who truly values every single one of my clients, I went out of my way to support her, even breaking the cardinal rules of group coaching by providing her one-on-one unpaid additional support. And despite the positive outcomes other people in the group were experiencing, like successfully increasing their prices without backlash from their existing clients, getting their first paid clients, getting booked out and ready to hire tutors, I found myself judging my performance based on her slower progress. And it just took me far too long to recognize that this client just wasn't the right fit for the program. When it comes to my program, it works best for tutors who are self-driven, who are motivated, who don't blame others for their failures, but take accountability for their actions and for their results. And when I realized that we weren't actually a good fit for one another, it was already far too late. I'd already invested countless hours in one-on-one support, which was leaving me mentally and emotionally drained. She even took up space rent-free in my head when I went on holidays to Europe. All of this took a toll on me, leaving me feeling super burnt out. So when it came to launch this cohort of Master Your Tutoring game plan, I was feeling hesitant and filled with doubt, to be honest. Did I really want to run another group coaching program after this sour experience? I even toyed with and committed to the idea of turning this program into a video-only program, so to remove all of the coaching elements so that I wouldn't have to deal with any potential negative interactions. And so that's when 7 days before the launch, I was ready to quit. I was ready to commit to this new program. I started rewriting all of my marketing posts, but then I suddenly remembered why I embarked on this journey of helping others. I love teaching and connecting with people. It's the reason why I sold LSG, so that I can be at ground zero again. I want to be able to work with my clients closely. I relish in the aha moments when someone gets a concept or they're able to overcome a hurdle. I love sharing in the excitement of a success with a tutor. I love getting to know my clients on a personal level beyond business. I love chatting about mindset and helping my tutors overcome their own mindset block. So in spite of being this close to abandoning the group coaching program, I last minute decided to pivot back to the original plan and decided to go with the group coaching format and focus on the amazing quality humans who are the majority of those inside the program. So the key lesson I'd love for you to take away from this story is the importance of resilience in business. You're going to have difficult clients and moments of self-doubt are inevitable, but it's your ability to bounce back that truly defines your journey and character. And it's those of us who can bounce back that stay in business for 1+ years, for 2+ years, for 5+ years, for 10+ years. Because when it comes to business, the bigger your business gets, the more challenging your problems are going to be. And I don't say that to scare you, but I say that to show you that if you don't get back now, you won't ever be able to get back further down the track because you'll never get there in the first place. I took time out to work through this negative experience. I spoke to my mentors, I went to see my psychologist, I journaled about it, I wrote about it in my email with my subscribers, which by the way, if you'd like to subscribe to get tutoring advice and business advice from me each week, then go ahead and subscribe there. All of this helped me to put that fear behind me so that I could show up as the best version of myself for this launch. And it's completely paid off. Remember, when you show up with fear, there's no way you're going to be able to get the success you want for yourself. I made $57,000 in 30 days, but only because I laid the foundations 4 months in advance. Rather than waiting until launch day and just hoping that people would buy a product from me, I started nurturing my audience 4 months in advance through email marketing. And the results show. I had only 700 people on my email list, but those 700 people ended up generating $57,000 for this campaign launch. So that really goes to show that you don't need to have a lot of people inside your funnel. You don't need to have 100,000 followers in order for you to be successful. It's about the quality of your leads, not the quantity of your leads. And I think a huge part of this is that I took my time to write quality emails that truly helped my audience with whatever problems they're currently experiencing. My open rates for my emails currently sit around 50%, which is typically very, very good for any industry. That tells me that I'm able to provide my audience quality advice and give them a lot of goodwill before I actually ask them if they're interested in purchasing a service or product from me. By the way, if you do subscribe to my email list, you do get a free ebook immediately sent to your inbox where I share the biggest lessons I've made making my first 6 figures and how you can avoid them so that you can accelerate your journey as a tutoring business owner. So I'll put that link up in the card for you. Next, I actually ditched Instagram and TikTok for this $57,000 launch. I know this goes against all the cardinal rules of the fact that you need to be consistent on your social media, but when I looked at my goals for this campaign and I reverse engineered it, I recognized that pumping out more social media posts would just be busy work for me. Instead, my time was better spent actually nurturing my audience in my email sequence because that's where I'd be able to have a higher rate of conversions once I actually had my offer available for my audience to buy. And that's because the audience in my emailing list, they're warmer. They know me, they like me, I think. I hope so, because that's why they're reading my emails. And even though being on social media is my wheelhouse, I'm so used and so comfortable with doing social media, for this campaign, I decided to do things differently. I knew looking at my timeline for this campaign that I wouldn't have enough time to write quality emails and publish quality videos as well. So I could either try to do everything but do them poorly, or buckle down on one thing and do it well. And that's the option I chose. Was it scary ditching Instagram and TikTok? Hells yeah, it was scary. I was really uncomfortable and I was really scared, to be honest. But by looking at my marketing funnel and looking at the numbers, I knew where I needed to focus my attention, and it has paid off because this campaign 4x'd any other previous campaign I've ever done. Now, onto the big lessons and takeaways. The best decision I made in this $57,000 successful campaign is deciding to hire a team. When I strategized this plan way back last year, yes, I do plan quite far in advance, I knew from my previous master tutoring campaigns that an activity that consumed a large proportion of my time was sales calls. And I've known this because I track my working hours on Toggle every single week. And here's what the past week looked like for me. Notice how there are actually no sales calls on my list. And that's because I've hired a team for it. So when I look at my campaign goals, I knew in order to hit my good goal, I'd have to do 12 sales calls. And over a 30-day campaign, that would be roughly 3 calls or about 3 hours a week. Totally doable. Now, if I wanted to hit my better goal, 15 calls or 15 hours over a 30-day campaign would be roughly 4 hours a week. Also very doable. But if I wanted to give myself any chance of hitting the best goal, I would have to do myself 70 sales calls. And looking at my typical work week, I work on average less than 30 hours a week. There was absolutely no way I was able to make this happen, at least not well. Either I'd have to sacrifice my time in other areas of the campaign, or I'd have to work longer hours, which would mean that I would be sacrificing my personal time. So then in terms of ROI, I deducted that my time was better spent focusing on the marketing, for example, nurturing my emailing list or being the face of the videos, because I have to be the face of the videos, rather than being behind the scenes in sales calls where I don't have to be present. I also felt that although I am half decent at doing sales calls, it's not my wheelhouse. So I deducted that my business would be better off if I hired salespeople who were specialists in that field. By reverse engineering my goals, I recognized that I wouldn't be able to hit my best goal without getting help. And reflecting on it now, it was the best decision I could have made because the campaign launch results proved that I was right in making this hiring decision. The biggest learning from my biggest ever launch is the power of hiring someone who has more experience than you. Experienced people are more expensive, but they are worth their weight in gold. I used to hire people who had no or little experience in their roles with a plan to train them up. But what I didn't understand is that the trade-off is that you're paying less, but you're paying more with your time. An inexperienced staff member means you spend more time training and double checking their work, all which saps time out of the important work you would otherwise be doing. Now, if you don't have the budget to hire someone with experience, then hiring somebody is better than not hiring at all. But if you do have the money and you don't have enough time, then that's when I would recommend hiring someone with quality experience. Experienced staff members can hit the ground running in your business with minimal training and, more importantly, give you suggestions for improvement in your business. This is why I hired Nat, who has 2+ years of sales experience underneath her belt, but she has a long history otherwise of business experience, including marketing. Throughout this campaign, Nat became my mentor. She helped me improve our sales funnel, formulate new payment plans, implement upsells and downsells, and this last bullet point helped us unexpectedly surpass the best goal of $50,000 to $57,000. More on this in the next point. The most valuable lesson I've gained from my most successful launch ever is the power of upsells. What I realized from this campaign is that not everybody who comes into your funnel is going to be the exact right fit for your offer. But it doesn't mean that you don't have another offer that may be right for them. For example, my Master Your Tutoring Game Plan program is for tutors who are starting out in business, looking for their first paid clients. I assumed that because my marketing was very specific in targeting those who were looking to start their businesses and to get their first paid clients, that inside the funnel, those who registered for my masterclass, those who hopped into sales calls, were those who were just starting out in their business. But I was wrong. What I noticed was that people who were further along in their journey, people who were booked out with tutoring, people who were looking to hire tutors, people who were wanting to expand into products, still came through the funnel and still were looking for help. This meant that we could actually upsell these people into high touch, more personalized offers like my one-on-one private coaching. And on the flip side, we had those who weren't quite ready for the Master Your Tutoring Game Plan program either. Maybe they didn't really know if tutoring was really going to be the right business and career for them. So in these cases, we'd actually downsell them other products to give them a taste tester of the program. All of this was possible because we didn't push and we didn't force people to buy the one thing we were offering. We listened to our prospects, heard what their pain points were, and assessed with honesty whether or not Master Your Tutoring Game Plan was a good fit for them. That's why I actually call these sales calls the free fit assessment call, because we don't want to be sleazy salesmen. By truly valuing our prospects and identifying what was truly best for them, we were able to sell them offers that were perfectly suited for them. And this is what helped us surpass our best goal of $50,000 to $57,000 through upsells and downsells. So the next time you have a campaign, recognize that people will be at different stages with very different needs, and provide them with an offer that's going to be best suited for them. Let's now talk about the behind the scenes, the mistakes I made during this $57,000 launch. The biggest mistake I made in this $57,000 launch campaign is that I failed to update my audience with important information sooner rather than later. The email with the access link to my masterclass live event failed to send on time. So unfortunately, the email software I use bugged, which meant that the email was sent 2 hours later than intended. This means that I got email after email from confused attendees saying why they hadn't received the link to join the event. So my team and I had to madly rush up a new email to send to our 700 registrants, and what this meant is that 100% of people missed the first 15 or so minutes of the masterclass. And I'd say that the setup of the masterclass, that first 15 minutes, is so important to hook the audience in, to show them the value and to share with them what they're going to be expecting for the rest of the masterclass. So the next time I do this campaign, I'm going to send out that access link way in advance, and I would highly recommend for you to make sure that you update your audience on all the information they need to know in advance as well. Next, in spite of the fact that this was the most successful campaign to date, I made a very silly mistake. After I had written up an email which was intended to be sent on the day of the masterclass launch, instead of scheduling it, I actually hit send now. This is such a silly mistake because it's just truly human error, and I'm thinking back on it, all I can say to myself is that you tried your best, because my hands just ended up hitting the wrong button. I can definitely be more careful next time. I just think that this is one of those things that no matter if you document this down or if you're extremely careful, mistakes like this just happen here and there. And so this meant that people got the email 5 days in advance before the event, leaving many registrants confused. So I had to madly rush to write up an extra email to inform everyone that it was a mistake. And so even though this is a mistake, what I want to share here is that nobody's perfect, not me, not you, not anyone. And while it's so easy to get caught up in the pursuit of perfection, it's an unattainable goal that ultimately leads to disappointment and stress. And the old me would have just completely bashed myself up over this and gone, why did you do that? You're such an idiot. This is so stupid. But now I can actually just have a chuckle to myself and recognize that I did the best I can. And it's important that I just don't dwell on the negative. And that's what I want for you as well. I want you to know that it's okay to make mistakes so long as you're willing to learn from them and you're willing to give yourself grace. It's okay for you to stumble so long as you pick yourself up, dust it off, and just keep moving forward. And this story is proof that even though I made mistakes, you can still have a really successful launch as a result. A key takeaway from my most lucrative launch is to record absolutely everything you do, because I didn't. Because I previously didn't document my work, every time I did a launch, I'd repeat old mistakes that would cost me leads. So for example, after the masterclass live event, I forgot to update the URL so people could go and watch the replay. This meant that people who missed the live event, who then went on to watch the masterclass, just saw a blank page because the event was over. And this means that I might have missed out on quality leads who would have actually given me the time to watch my masterclass and would then have gone on to actually book in a call with us to see whether or not they were a good fit for the program. So I've since realized that having a step-by-step guide, even if it is just for yourself, is an absolute game changer. Think of it like creating your playbook. It takes out all the to-dos out of your head and onto paper and ensures you don't miss any important steps. This is an example of my own technical SOP, or what you call a standard operating procedure, where I write down all the website updates, link changes, and automations to be set up. And this is actually only just a small section of my SOP. So to think that this small section had all of this in my head stored there, I was bound to be making mistakes. The additional benefit is that having everything recorded also makes working with your team a breeze because everybody is on the same page. By writing everything down, it actually helped me recall all those important lessons and mistakes for this YouTube video to film for you. Now, the most surprising lesson from this latest launch, which actually came from a failure, was that I had to postpone the launch by 3 weeks. I saw this as a failure because I did not manage to do the work I needed to do in time for the kickstart of this campaign, which was the masterclass live event. It was supposed to be at the start of August, but I underestimated how much time I needed to prep for the campaign, so I ended up delaying it by 3 weeks. Now, had I recorded everything down from my previous launches in an SOP, then I may have estimated my time a little bit better, but I hadn't recorded anything down. So at that time, I saw this as a massive failure because I was late in delivering what I had promised, but actually this was the best thing that could have happened for this launch. By delaying the launch, I was was able to give myself space to properly focus on building hype around the masterclass event, writing high quality emails which had an average open rate of 50% plus, which therefore led to greater signups to my Master You Tutoring Game Plan program. And that's the big takeaway of this entire video. We heap all these expectations of ourselves as entrepreneurs to meet certain deadlines, and it just creates a lot of stress and anxiety, especially if you're not on track to making that time frame you set for yourself. But by actually stretching things out, pushing things back, I gave myself the grace, I gave myself the chance to produce higher quality work, which ultimately is what led to this campaign being the most successful ever at $57,000. So if this is a lesson you resonate with and you recognize that for yourself, you also need to give yourself more grace and permission to slow down and to recognize that you are just a human, then please write down grace in the comment section below, because that shows me that you found value out of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was incredibly valuable for you to hear these gold nuggets of learnings I've made for yourself and to take away into your own tutoring business as well. If you'd like to keep watching, then I'd highly recommend you go and check out how I built $1 million tutoring business, the lessons that I learned, because I know that those lessons there will also be incredibly valuable for your own journey as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.